Hello friends, this is Dikyans and today I am going to describe about enhanced for loop of Java. Today I am going to talk about how enhanced for loop working in Java and how it's converted into internally, how compiler recognize it and how it's internally working. I'm going to describe whole everything. So let's start. First of all, I'm going to show you one project that how it's what's it doing. Then after I will elaborate it. So first, I'm going to create one project. Okay. Now I'm going to create one class. Sorry, create one class. Just one class with a name of just test. I wanted main method. Okay. Let's see. First, I'm going to show it the first example with array. How it's working with array. So let's create one array. I'm creating one array of integer. Sorry, integer arr 10, 20, 30. I'm just taking three value. Then after I'm trying to print it with enhanced for loop. For that I have to write integer. I creating one variable and then after array, and here we can do whatever logic we want. I'm just going to uh, print it its value. I'm just printing its value. Just take it. This is out. Then after I'm just printing I value of the I. Now I'm going to run this program. Let's observe what's output is going to come. Look at here, it's going to give me 10, 20, 30. It means whole all variable of this loop will be transferred and printed. Now observe it how it's working internally. We can we retain this line will converted internally by compiler. Look like this. It will convert it into for int I. It's going to create is equal to 0, and then after I less than arr dot length, then after I plus plus, and simply whatever we written this out, and here I. Internally compiler will convert it into look like this. Let's see. I'm not saying that. Let's see that is it true or not. So what I'm going to do for proving it, I'm going to open my workspace. D drive workspace. Here this is the project for each. Here I'm going to, this is our class we created. I'm going to decompile this class with some software. Mm, because this is generated by compiler, and what's compiler added or what's done. Let's observe here. What's here is that observe it. Let's see. Here compiler created one another variable k, and anyhow length of the array is put into k. Then after we'll create one more variable j, and j less than till k. It's and going to do that. Actually, decompiler something it's changing, but somehow it's doing exact what we see. That is, it's doing. Now it is, this is what's with array. Now next we are going to see with collection class. Let's see, take one collection class. I'm going to create object of array list of integer. List is equal to new array list of integer. Now add some value 10, then after list dot add 20. Now I'm trying to print it with the help of enhanced for loop. for int I colon list. Next, this out I. I'm just going to print the value of I. Let's observe it. It's also working. How in the case of array? In the case of array, it's just taken one length, and however we are, it's going to work with for loop, same as it's working with enhanced for loop. But in the case of collection, it's not an array. So how it's compiler knowing that how many element is there, and how we have to get that element and print it? For that, what's it going to do? It's just take a normal for loop. In normal for loop, it will create one on the initialization block. It will create an object of iterator of integer, because here our class is the type of integer, that's why integer. And then after any variable name, it's is equal to list class, just taking iterator from the list class. Then after it will continue till iterator dot has more next, and third value it's going to leave it alone. And then after it's going to uh, sys out, and then it will create not it's doing directly, actually it will create int I is equal to ip dot next. It will first take it into one variable, then after print it like this. So in both cases, this is converted by compiler in look like this. Let's see how it's true or not. So what I'm doing, first it's run, then after I'm going to again see the source code from decompiling the class file. Open with decompiler. It's a decompiler. This is decompiler, and opened it. Let's observe here. For iterator is equal to list dot iterator dot has next. Here this is putted here, but it's depend on some decompiler to decompiler, because every decompiler has their own logic to decompile it, and based on that it's working. So here it's something like this. It means if we are talk, then for loop is nothing, enhanced for loop is nothing. It's internally compiler. For loop is for only for compiler, not for JVM, because the compiler convert it into normal for loop. So our JVM doesn't know anything about for enhanced for loop. This is only for compiler. Compiler only know that yeah, this is the enhanced for loop, and then after compiler will convert it into normal for loop, and then our JVM will execute with the help of normal for loop only. So this is a story how it's this array it's converting. But now let's see that how it's working. Why is with collection with working? If I use our own class, then it will work with our own class or not? There are so many questions coming in our mind. So now let's observe it. This is how it's working. It's taking one iterator taking iterator from list. What's the rule of for loop? If you want to work with enhanced for loop, then there is some condition. If you wanted to work with enhanced for loop, then the object you are want to use in the enhanced for loop, that must be that class must implement one interface that is iterable. If because we all know that collection, top of the collection, every collection top class is the collection, and the collection is also extended by iterable. Before collection, one interface is there, iterable collection will extend iterable, both are interfaces, and then after other our collection classes or interfaces are implemented and extended that interfaces. So anyhow our collection classes have indirectly extend subclass of iterable interface. That's why it's working. So now at I'm going to prove it. I'm gonna to take one our own class, and then after I'm going to show with working with our own class, create our own class that will work with enhanced for loop. For that I'm going to create one project, cust Cust enhance or loop or demo custom class enhance for loop demo custom class enhance for loop demo. Okay, let's see. I'm going to create one class, new class. Just I'm taking any class name as like custom class. Okay, this is our custom class. Now what I'm going to do it will implement one interface that is iterable. Yeah, iterable. So if you want to work with iterable, then we have to if we once then it implement unimplemented, we have to implement its methods. Okay, what I'm going to do it here. I'm creating one array for that. For the security reason, I'm creating it as private int array arr is equal to. I'm going to take some value 30, 20, 60, 11, just some dummy value. I am for testing purpose, because because we are going to work with enhanced for loop. Then enhanced for loop we have to work with more than one element. For that I am created it. Then afterwards I am going to do it. I am going to return here one new because I have to in iterable interface there is one method public iterator method name is iterator, and it will return also iterator plus one object, iterator interface object. For that we have to return. That's why I am going to here return new iterable iterator, sorry, new iterator, because this is the interface and this is having also some method. So either we have to create one class explicitly, then after return its object from here, because we can't create object of the interface, or either we can create here implementation, write the implementation here only. Here I'm writing its implementation. Here what I'm going to do it, we have to return next hash method. What's it doing? It will return boolean value. More than if you iterating loop, then how loop know that how many element is there. So that loop will call hash next method. In if hash next method return true, it means that some more element in that object for printing. If it will return false, then no more object is there, so loop will end. So that's why we have to overwrite it, and in this we have to return the valuable. So for that what I'm going to take, I'm taking one more variable, private sorry uh, private index. One index variable I'm going to take, and then after what I'm going to do is sorry, data type is missing, integer type. What's after that what I'm going to do is take it as 0. Anyhow it's going to be 0, and what I'm going to return here is return returns index not is equal to arr dot length. What it will do, if index variable is 0, if it's not is equal to arr dot length, it means it's not the equal to length of the arr variable. If one value is there, so it will throw array index out of 1. For that I have to write -1, but we have to go till one step back to there. This will return if one more element is available, then it will return true. If our index value reach to last position, then after it will return false, and it will not going to print anything. In next method, what going? It's this method will return original value. What is the value on the array? It will return every value because it's a return type is object. For that, what is I'm going to return from here is I'm going to return element. I'm created one array. I'm going to return each array in one. If loop is going, then for each loop, each iteration, one element from this array will printed. For that, what I'm going to do, return one element of this array. For that, arr of index, and then after for next time I have to increase it. So I'm here only I'm going to take it plus plus. Now then after let's take one class for testing purpose. Test I required main method. So what I'm going to do it, just here creating one object of our class. Custom class cl is equal to new custom class. Then after I'm going to print it using enhanced for loop, because its return type anyhow it's going to be integer. So what I'm writing, int I is equal to cl. I'm going to write it cl, but it's giving one error, cannot cast typecast object into, because we are working with without generics. That's why it's giving one error. So it's better to work with generic. So what I'm going to do it, if we want, then we can work with without generic also, then, but I wanted to work with generics. So what I'm going to create with the generics, it will take in a here nothing but e, and for that I have to convert it into typecast into e. It's still giving error, cannot typecast. Okay, later I will see with that. Now I'm just what's going to do is here e, and this will also e. What's next? Here it will not returning. For that we are going to typecast it into e. It should have to work, cannot cast integer into e. So let's if we cast it into integer, and also it's not working. Yeah friends, this has to be e, because we are generic type is e, and because this is the this is a generic type and we are converting into object type, so it will not work. For that we have to convert it into integer. So integer dot value of what I'm going to do, convert it into integer object, integer class object. So now it should have to work with integer. It should have to work with integer. Here, yeah, here also it's required type e. Oh sorry, this is the problem and we are wandering here and there. So now our custom class is completed. So now come here and because we are completed, so here integer, just we are passing because this has to return integer object, and if we are working with generics, then we have to work with whole generics. CL, I don't think this this is not has to return error. Oh sorry, I'm missing its syntax. Now then after what I'm going to print this one I. So let's observe it what's happening. Let's say 30 20 60. What is whatever the element in our class 30. Oh sorry, here it's have to go to till length. So next what's element in the our stored in the 30 20 60 11, and whole element are printed. How it's working, let's observe it custom class. We are written this one. After that when compiler compile it, then after compilation it will convert it look like this. for it will create one iterator object, iterator of integer, because we are passing integer. Then after create it is equal to cl dot iterator it dot has next. Then after sys out, before sys out it has to, or we can directly print it it dot next. So this has to, it's this will work like, look like this, or what it's going to do is, yeah, here one semicolon is required. Actually compiler, because we are created here one instance local variable I, so it will create first I, and compiler will write this one to here, and then after it will print I here. So it will convert it into internally this. What's happening here? It will create one iterator class object. How it's decided this is integer? Because we are passes here integer, this integer will go and store into E, then E will here, and here returning we are iterable object. Our class implementing iterable interface, that's why it's having one iterable iterator method. So it's on our class it will call iterator method. It will return one iterator object, class or interface object, that iterable interface object having E type, and we are passing in E whatever integer. So that's why integer is also here camped and copy. Then after it's having, then it's has next method. Has next method will call index. Index is first time 0 came here, and length is 4. 0 not is equal to 4, true, condition is true, that's why its condition will true. Then next after it will take first next element, it will what, index plus plus, it means 30. 30 will come into I, then after printed, then after again go for next step, will again call has next index will become 1 here, and then after 1 not is equal to 4. So it will return true, then after again coming to here, take one element, print it, then after it index become 2, 2 not is equal to 4, it will take one variable, print it, after 3, 3 not is equal to 4, it will print it, at the last time it's become 4, index become 4, length also 4, 4 is equal to 4, condition false, this condition gonna to be false. If this is false, then loop OD will not execute and control come out from loop, and then after this all printed. So this is all how for loop internally happening, and how we create our own class that will work with for loop. Thank you for watching video. Thank you.